So now that we let all the dust settle about the Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time remake, now that right there is crazy. We can finally talk about going down to the bare bones on where this information even came from the first place, and is it reliable? Now, personally, I think that it might be a little bit reliable. Now, I'm not saying maybe the person, I'm just saying that this makes a lot of sense to be actually happening because the 40th anniversary of the Legend of Zelda series is next year, and what better way to bring out a Legend of Zelda games? Now, that isn't the craziest part, is that the Nintendo Switch 2, as of yet, we don't have its own Nintendo Switch 2 Zelda game. So we do have The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, the enhanced Switch 2 editions, but we don't have a new Legend of Zelda game. So, just maybe, if we put everything all considered, we could see a remake. Now, this game is supposedly the best or one of the greatest Zelda games. And I'm not here to say that your opinion is wrong. I'm just here to say that let's just say you didn't grow up with a Nintendo 64. You might find the controls, the gameplay, and everything else associated to The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time a little bit hard to play. Now the controls, you move around a little bit and it flicks. It just flicks around. So, or you can't even use the camera angles. You're moving around and it moves by itself or whatever it is. It's not the greatest camera controls here in 2025. I think it's time to get that a little bit of an upgrade. There's other criticisms like, when you're walking around and you're looking at the visuals, that is a little bit of another criticism, but the biggest one that I've heard so far is that if you didn't like reading or you didn't want to read in a video game, well, you're skipping through exactly where it's telling you to go. And some players might have actually just missed out on this. Now, I know the first time I'm playing, I never catch this. I thought that maybe it just points you in the direction that you need to go. Sure enough, there's not really a map that shows you that. And I was just stuck running around looking, where in the world am I supposed to go? So I think the remake for these three ideas or even more would be good because maybe we can just see a little pointer on the map that says, okay, go here, you have to talk to the princess. You can turn it off like The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom, but at least it's there for new players that don't care about reading the dialogue. Or we can see some type of voice acting since it's a remake, since it's 2025, and also, apparently this game has been in the works since 2023, I believe, which is really, really crazy. And I think that, hey, we might see it next year. Makes the most sense to me. And Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time really is a special game. Really is one of those games that you look at and you're like, okay, so yeah, I think that this is a great game. But again, if you haven't played during the time that it came out, even the 3DS remake of the game, sure, that is really a good remake of The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, but it doesn't really fix most of the issues. Now, you can say that it did semi-fix the controls, but, at the same time, if it would have been a remake like we're supposedly getting on the Switch 2, controls would be fixed. You can update the controls to whatever you want now that we have mouse controls, now that we have all those things on Switch 2. You can update them, you can change the button loadout, you can change everything about it, and there you go. It's completely up to you. And not only will the remake most likely include more features like, who knows, more swords and a whole bunch of other things since it's a remake, not a remaster. Maybe we can see even more things instead of it being a barren wastelands and Hyrule Fields with a little bit of pretty much nothingness, maybe a one tree, a little house, and these weird flowers that fly around you and attack you. But besides that, there's not really anything. Maybe we can fix that, having more trees, having more buildings. It doesn't have to be a one-to-one remake of the game. It can be a different type of remake. A game that it's following the studs of Ocarina of Time, but also, it's adding in some new features. Now, I'm not saying it should be a full-blown remake that the game's unrecognizable. No. We can keep the game how it is because I think that the game really is a special game. It's got a lot to offer. But if again, if you haven't played back in the day when it came out, you're gonna have some problems with it. A remake would adjust all of those theories, all of those bad things, and add in some modern things to Ocarina of Time. And maybe we can even see some more villagers, we can see some more tasks that you have to do, we can see a whole bunch of things that weren't there in the previous game, weren't there in the N64 version. So that right there is a special thing. It really is special to be seeing this as a leak, rumor, maybe information at this point, that we're going to be seeing Ocarina of Time. There's been a lot of talks about, okay, so remake, what does this include? This, maybe a sword, maybe new characters, side quests, or even challenges. But yeah, I think the remake would really be special. Now, maybe in the visuals, we could see 4K 60 with upscaled and all of this stuff would be pretty cool. But I'm not saying it has to be that. It doesn't have to be an Unreal Engine 5 with all of this stuff. Now that would look really good, but it's probably not gonna be that. Doesn't necessarily have to be that. Just want updated controls because, it would be really, really special to see updated controls. Now, also, for another thing for The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time that they might want to add is some new armor sets. Yay, that would be really cool because then instead of just having the green tunic, the red tunic, and the blue tunic, maybe you can have other tunics that negate different damage. Maybe for new players that aren't the greatest at The Legend of Zelda now, maybe we can see new tunics that negate the damage a lot. So then you can run around and be like, okay, I'm so good at the game, and you don't have to get frustrated at some of the bosses. Or you can have a master mode that the bosses are 3 times harder and also deal a lot more damage to you. Maybe that could be an option in the works, because I know that there's a lot of things about, okay, having harder Zelda games would be really, really fun to have, because harder games make it so, okay, so you have to use your noggin. All right, I'm thinking here, where am I going? Okay, so I gotta go and fight this boss. I gotta go and fight this boss. Okay, so I gotta dodge his tentacles or something. So yeah, a harder game really makes you think about what's your next move. How are you gonna play this out? So remake for this game would add all of those features, add all of those things that you want to see in the Legend of Zelda remake, and you'll most likely have. So anyways, I found this really interesting. I think that we're probably gonna have it in 2026. Game's gonna come out. Honestly, I'm gonna say it. The games are gonna come out in 2026 since it's the 40th anniversary of the Legend of Zelda series. And also, it would be a great remaster to have. A remake, I should say. Because I don't really want a remaster like, okay, so we just fix the controls, add a little update visuals. A remake, though, is something truly special. It remakes the game itself, and it adds things that we've always wanted. It adds things that really makes it special to you. It brings back the old players that played the game back when it released. It brings back new players and it merges them together. That is something that you've only really seen in remakes itself. So overall, what do you think about this? Do you think that we will be seeing a Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time remake on Nintendo Switch 2, or do you think this is a whole lot of baloney? Anyways, thank you so much for watching. Hope that you enjoyed. I hope that you have a fantastic day, and I hope that you're excited for the Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time remake. And with that being said, see you in the next one.